Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. Nebraska is a wonderful place to be a kid and to grow up. I know that from personal experience. We have good schools, supportive communities. We've got wonderful entertainment for the family. When you think about the Henry Doorly Zoo being one of the top zoos in the world, you think of the Children's Museum. You think about, obviously, we've got the Children's Museum in Omaha. We got the Children's Zoo here in Lincoln. Morrill Hall was always a fun place for me to take my kids as well. So there's lots of great family entertainment here in our state as well. It's just a wonderful place to grow up. And you don't have to just take my word for it, though. The Annie E. Casey Foundation does an annual review as part of their mission to help government at all different levels be able to put in practices in place that are going to help children's welfare. And so they do a review of all the annual states annually, the Kids Count data book, where they go review a variety of different factors. In fact, they've got 16 different subcategories of things they take a look at. And over the course of the last 3 years, Nebraska has moved up in those rankings. In 2019, we were number 12. In 2020, we were number 9. And in 2021, we were number 7. And we actually got ranked in one of the subcategories for economic well-being for children. We ranked number 2 in the nation. In fact, if you look at those 16 subcategories, we actually improved in 12 of those 16 subcategories year over year from 21 to 20. And then we actually are above the national average in 13 of those 16 categories. So it is a great recognition of the work that's going on here in the state. Now, we also know the last 18 months have been very challenging, not only for our state, our country, the entire world with the coronavirus pandemic. And it's impacted kids as well. We know that in the spring of 2020, we had the interruption of classrooms where kids were, sent home. And then the last school year, our educators worked very, very hard to be able to adapt to the pandemic and have kids in classrooms. I think we were ranked the 6th best state for kids in classrooms last year. And also our child welfare specialists had to adapt to the new circumstances as well. And they worked very hard to make changes so that they can continue to provide that care for kids and be able to make sure we're watching out for our kids here in the state. And so we want to recognize the great work that's been gone on by our child welfare specialists over the course of the last 18 months as well. So we're going to get into that in a little bit when we talk about Child Workforce Development Month. So we'll get into that in just a second, though. But before we do that, we've got some speakers that are going to be coming up here. You'll see my lovely wife, Suzanne, our First Lady, is here. We also have the President and CEO of the Children and Families Foundation, Mary Jo Pankow, with us. And then our own Division Director for Children and Family Services, Stephanie Beasley from the Department of Health and Human Services, is here to speak as well. So we've got 3 speakers going to talk about some of the great work that's going on in our state with regard to child welfare and some of the things we've been doing here, working with organizations like the Annie Casey Foundation, Bring Up Nebraska, and all the other organizations that are working to improve child welfare here in the state. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my lovely wife, Suzanne, to talk a little bit more, and then we'll have our other speakers come up.
Okay, thanks. So I want to thank the team members who are here, who are going to accept this proclamation, as well as all child welfare workers across the state. During this month of Child Welfare Workforce Development and throughout the year, we just sincerely appreciate the work you do day in and day out to make sure that the kids and families of Nebraska succeed. Those who choose child welfare as a career are not only serving their communities, they are creating hope and opportunities for growth and success for those kids that they serve, and they are impacting those kids' lives in ways they will never fully understand. I witnessed this when I was a CASA volunteer and then again as First Lady. And most recently, it's been during my work with Bring Up Nebraska, which is a statewide prevention initiative that promotes and supports local communities and state partners as they keep kids safe, they support strong parenting and family well-being, and they help those families thrive and succeed. To all those who work in the child welfare arena, I want you to know that your work is making a huge difference and that the data shows it. The Annie E. Casey Foundation produces that Kids Count data book, and this year we ranked 7 out of all 50 states, and that's moving from 9 last year and 12 in 2019. Your efforts for creating a safer and healthier community for our state's children is obvious, especially serving those kids who come from some of the most challenged families. The data book does measure 4 key areas and 16 subsections, and those key areas include economic well-being, education, healthcare, and then community and family. And we have been moving up in those rankings in a lot of different areas, and I'm just going to highlight a few of them. In the past 9 years, Nebraska has reduced the number of children living in poverty from 18 to 11%. We've reduced the number of children living in high poverty areas from 7 to 4%. And Nebraska has reduced the teen births per capita from 31 for every 1,000 to 15 in every 1,000. And all of this is great news and shows that we're moving in the right direction, and it's because of all the work that's been done by so many who care about kids. Now, I know as well as anyone that there is still room to improve to make sure that all the kids and families fully realize the full potential of family and community well-being. And so because of that, we are committed to continuing, and not only continuing, but improving and growing our efforts. So to everyone who's contributed to these successes, thank you very much. And I hope that we will just continue to work together in order to improve it even more. It's not that I care about becoming number one, it's that I care about being the best that we can be for our kids and our families. That's all that's important. So now I would like to introduce Mary Jo Pankoch, the President and CEO of Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and she'll talk about her agency and the Bring Up Nebraska work.
Thank you, First Lady Shore. Nebraska Children and Families Foundation is proud to be the administrative lead for Bring Up Nebraska. Bring Up Nebraska is a statewide prevention partnership to advocate for local community collaboratives that keep children safe, support strong parents, and help families address life's challenges before they become a crisis. Championed by First Lady Suzanne Shore, I want to acknowledge the Nebraska agency partners that include the Center for the Study of Social Policy, the Children and Family Coalition of Nebraska, or CAFCON, Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, Nebraska Department of Education, Nebraska Child Abuse Prevention Fund Board, the Nebraska Department of Labor, Department of Economic Development, Nebraska Emergency Management Agency, or NEMA, Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, NIFA, Administrative Office of Courts and Probation, Casey Family Programs, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, and other private foundations. So we have a lot of state partners coming together to support the community efforts. And as First Lady Shore said, leading the way of Nebraska's prevention efforts are the 22 community collaboratives that cover 75 of Nebraska's counties. Bring Up Nebraska believes that these local communities are in the best position and the most motivated to understand their own needs and strengths. And they know best what will work in their communities to strengthen families, to reduce unnecessary entry into the child welfare system, to increase informal and formal supports for families, to promote positive well-being for children and families, and to promote equity in opportunities and outcomes for every child, and to eliminate the disproportionality of children, youth, and families involved in the child welfare and juvenile justice systems, and to support community vitality and economic development. Bring Up Nebraska is working to coordinate state and local services and funding to better identify and address family needs. And we're helping communities to identify gaps in services and to reduce duplication of efforts, all working towards a goal to promote well-being for children, families, and communities. Just as communities know best what will work in their community, families know best what will work for them. So Bring Up Nebraska is enabling young adults and families to determine their own paths toward well-being goals and lifts up their lived experiences to shape their well-being system. Community-based prevention is not new, but since coalescing together under the Bring Up Nebraska umbrella, we are seeing progress toward well-being. First Lady Shore mentioned some of the data, and I'll just share a few other data points. Since 2016, there's been a downward trend in the number of children in out-of-home care in Nebraska. Less than 1% of families involved in the community collaborative services and supports end up involved in the child welfare system. So community-based prevention is working. And the rate of substantiated maltreatment reports is decreasing from 6.2 substantiated cases per 1,000 children in 2013 to 4.0 per 1,000 children in 2020. So the data shows that community-based prevention is working. Bring Up Nebraska's community well-being model is based on the belief that everyone faces challenges and that providing supports early before challenges turn to crises improves outcomes for children, adults, and communities. The progress we made towards prevention led to Nebraska being one of only 4 jurisdictions to be chosen for the round 1 federal opportunity called Thriving Families, Safer Children, which Director Beasley will address in greater detail. We want to also draw attention to the invaluable support the collaboratives have given to their communities during times of great need. While the collaboratives were not created specifically to address emergency situations, the infrastructure created in communities has proven to be an effective means of supporting families through disasters, as well as providing resources to keep families safe and healthy in the long term. During the flooding of 2019 and now the COVID pandemic, the community collaboratives have lifted up the needs they are seeing in their counties and have been on the front lines in finding solutions to the housing, financial, and food security issues that have been exacerbated due to the pandemic. Nebraska has made progress towards a community well-being system, but we need more people at the table, more elected officials, more businesses, more community members, and more representation from those with lived experience with the child welfare and juvenile justice systems. Bring Up Nebraska is not a program, it's a collective call to action and an open invitation. It takes all of us to bring up Nebraska. So at this time, I would like to introduce Stephanie Beasley, Director of Children and Family Services for the Department of Health and Human Services. Director Beasley and her team have been such great partners in the prevention work, so I really value Director Beasley's leadership in this important work.
Thank you, Mary Jo. I'm grateful for the opportunity to acknowledge our child welfare workforce across Nebraska this month and for the governor's proclamation and his leadership and support of our team, as well as First Lady Shore. The hard work of our child welfare workforce and their dedication positively impacts and transforms lives, and we can't thank them enough for all that they do in this challenging work. A few members of our child welfare workforce are here today to celebrate and to be celebrated, and that is Ty Hageman, Tanya Starr, Jordan Hausch, Nicole Johnson. The group that I just mentioned, these are our team members who are working directly in the field with children and families changing lives. We also have leaders here today who support that important work. We have Beth Burr, Jennifer Runge, Sarah Helenek, who are all administrators in this field who have spent their careers dedicated to the lives of others. And then we also have Ms. Keisha Judson. She is our Deputy Director of Policy and Legislative Services, and Dr. Alger Studstill. Alger leads our field operations for protection and safety across Nebraska and supporting the important work done every day. Every day, our team is focused on the safety and well-being of families. it is often work that takes them away from their own families, and their dedication and sacrifice cannot go unnoticed. I know each of our child welfare team members across Nebraska work tirelessly to empower children, youth, and families in a variety of life's challenges and obstacles. I am very fortunate and honored to work every day alongside a team that has dedicated their career to service and to make an impact in the lives of our most vulnerable citizens. I want to take this opportunity to talk about the need for continued quality staff. Choosing a career in child welfare changes the lives of others and makes a positive impact across our state. If you are interested in this career choice and you want to make an impact, you can go to statejobs.nebraska.gov. We would welcome your heart and your dedication for children and families. The work of our team and others in support of children and families has placed Nebraska in a position to lead the nation as we shift the focus in child welfare to a model of prevention like that of Bring Up Nebraska. Thriving Families, Safer Children is a first-of-its-kind national partnership aimed at fundamentally rethinking child welfare systems in the United States and redesigning child welfare into child and family well-being systems. As described by Mary Jo, this model is built on the knowledge that families are best served in their communities. Nebraska has been selected as a round one state in Thriving Families, Safer Children, and will receive support from those entities that the governor mentioned, the N.E. Casey Foundation, Casey Family Programs, Prevent Child Abuse America, and the Children's Bureau. This multi-year initiative will provide resources and support to help move jurisdictions from traditional reactive child protection systems to systems that proactively support child and family well-being and prevent child maltreatment and unnecessary removals. In the second phase, the initiative will partner with jurisdictions to advance policy and systemic reforms at the state, local, and national level. In phase 3, Nebraska's learnings and our lessons will help other jurisdictions launch these same models. Nebraska was only one of 4 jurisdictions to be accepted in the first round of this partnership at the national level. As noted in our Kids Count well-being indicators and the work of Bring Up Nebraska, we have a strong focus on child and family well-being, which led to that selection by our national partners. As we strive to strengthen a prevention model, we are initially working with 5 community collaboratives in Nebraska. Although several communities across Nebraska submitted applications, we selected 5 and will continue to work with the others in the future. Those communities include Douglas County, Hall County, the Winnebago Tribe, Platte, Colfax counties, and the Dakota County. These 5 communities will receive technical assistance from Thriving Family Partners to help transform services this initial year, with additional opportunities for all community collaboratives to learn in the years that follow. Together, we will continue to grow our well-being system and ensure children and families have the support they need prior to coming into crisis. Nebraska hopes to use the Thriving Families to set examples for other states as well that enter into the partnership to change our national focus into prevention. Nebraska has had many successes for children and families, but families still have barriers. As we prioritize child well-being, we know that high-quality childcare plays a critical role for families. Access to quality child care poses a major barrier for parents looking to enter the workforce. In the last year, CFS established grants with the CARES Act money to help keep child care facilities open and safe. With COVID relief funds, over 2,000 child care providers have received $17.2 million from stabilization grants and/or incentives to reopen grants. In addition to those grants, $2.2 million went out as one-time supports to nearly another 2,000 child care subsidy providers. Since the beginning of 2021, we have issued $116,854 to 19 child care providers with startup or expansion grants, quality grants, and emergency grants utilizing our CCDF funds. Families that are still in need of child care can access really a phenomenal resource that we have, www.nechildcarereferral.org, to find providers, to have access questions answered, and to learn more. Nebraska continues to use stimulus funds to help families in need. We received over $4 million in pandemic emergency assistance funds and used it to issue payments to nearly 4,000 families enrolled in the Aid to Dependent Children program. COVID funds have also been used to assist children that aged out of foster care during the pandemic. Through federal grants, young persons that left foster care during the pandemic can re-enter and be given access to various support systems. There are approximately 294 young adults who have applied for and will receive a stipend for older youth support funds. These youth are ages 23 to 27 and directly impacted by the pandemic. An additional 163 young adults are eligible for extended pandemic foster care. These are just a few examples of how we have focused on family and child well-being throughout the pandemic. Much of the success in Nebraska is built on collaboration. You have heard examples of collaboration today with Bring Up Nebraska and Thriving Families. And as the team here today would tell you, children and families need support across many different systems, communities, and partners. Our team works daily with foster parents, adoptive parents, CASAs, judges, child advocacy centers, county attorneys, law enforcement officers, educators, providers of services, behavioral health professionals, youth, children, parents, and many others. Over the last year, a team of Nebraskans representing these partners have worked together to develop priorities for our state to continue the growth of our child and family well-being system. Prevention of child abuse and neglect is a key priority of these providers and partners that will build upon the efforts that Bring Up Nebraska and Thriving Families have worked to achieve. The work of these partners continue to reflect the singular vision of a well-being system. Prevention of child abuse and neglect is a key priority of these partners that will build upon the efforts that we have already laid. It continues to reflect our commitment to well-being. An expansion of our efforts of prevention are also represented with our implementation of the Families First Prevention Services Act. In our plan to implement FFPSA, we're focused on prevention through mental health, substance abuse prevention, treatment services, and in-home parent skill building programs. We continue to partner across the state to develop best practices, build partnerships, and secure funding to transform our state's child welfare system into a child well-being system. These highlights shine a light on some of the important work being implemented by child welfare workers daily in our state. When we think about support to children and families, it is absolutely clear it is not possible without our child welfare team members, and we cannot thank you enough for what you do. Thank you to each of our child welfare team members here today, each child welfare team member across Nebraska, and additionally, our broader partners who come to work every day on behalf of vulnerable children and families. I appreciate each of you coming and acknowledging the incredible impact our workforce makes every day in the lives of children and families. Governor, I'll turn this back over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Appreciate that. And I would like to add my thanks as well to Stephanie's, to not only our teammates that are here in the room, but all of our teammates that work in child welfare and all the folks that work in child welfare across the state. So add my thanks to Stephanie's for all your great work. And now we're going to, actually getting back to what I talked about at the beginning, with the National Child Welfare Institute recognizes September as Child Welfare Workforce Development Month, and also the Children's Bureau recognizes as well. So I'm going to sign a proclamation declaring it National Child Welfare Workforce Development Month here in Nebraska. So give me just a second here. And with my signature, we are now official. So what I'd like to do is ask our teammates here in the audience, and of course, Stephanie, Mary Jo, Suzanne, can you join me up here and we'll take a group photo. And Taylor, I think you'll move the podium for us. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you? I'm actually going to stick the podium right there. So
So we'll squish together.